Good afternoon, everybody. We've got some Seattle Seahawks news here, and it may not seem like big news. It seems like business as usual for most teams in an offseason, but I think this is actually a pretty big deal, and I think we now have a very, very clear picture of who the Seattle Seahawks starting quarterback is going to be in 2024. It looks like the team is just committed for one more year to Geno Smith. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So we got a tweet from Field Yates on screen. This has been confirmed via many other sources as well. The Seahawks have restructured the contract of quarterback Geno Smith, converting his $9.6 million roster bonus into a signing bonus, which creates $4.8 million in 2024 cap space. So, surface level, this is a move designed to help get the Seahawks below the cap level. This is a move designed to free up some cap space that we can utilize to retain our outgoing players, pay our draft picks, etc., etc. And just on the surface level, this does indicate a desire to start finding the savings, finding the ways in which we can massage this roster to create additional money, right? Condota has this tweet here with an over-the-cap blurb written about the move. This creates nearly $5 million of cap space. It drops Geno's cap number from 31.2 to 26.4. His cap hit for 2025 goes up by an equivalent amount from 33.7 to 38.5. It is still very, very possible to cut Geno Smith in 2025 after this upcoming season. The dead cap hit rises to 13.5, but that's still massive savings. That's still $25 million in savings. And also, because this was not his base salary that we converted into a signing bonus, we can still convert his base salary down the line if we feel like we need more cap space. He has $12.7 million in base salary that can be mostly converted. Over 11 million of it can be converted into bonus, and that would create an additional nearly 6 million in cap. So there's still some stuff that could be done here. But this move basically got us under the cap, according to Over the Cap. Overthecap.com had us at almost 5 million over. I know Spotrac has us at 1.5. There are always going to be little discrepancies between those two sites. But this move basically got us back in the black on both sites, just by slightly different amounts depending on who you use. So surface level is we now have nearly $5 million more of cap space that we did not have yesterday. And that's obviously going to be very impactful given how close we are to the cap ceiling. However, there's a bigger effect of this move that is going to definitely change the way people are looking at this offseason, and it's going to inform us what the plan is going into 2024. Geno Smith looks like he's here to stay. The one remaining move the Seahawks could have made would have been to trade Geno Smith to another team. And we've talked about this a little bit before. The drop-dead date for trading Geno Smith was mid-March. I think it was like March 17th, because that's when his $9.6 million roster bonus would kick in. Because at that point, you would have to pay him that if he was still on your roster. So in order to save that 9.6, you needed to move him before then, so that way his new team would owe him the roster bonus. Well, now he doesn't have a roster bonus, he has a signing bonus. And Corbin Smith has a tweet here detailing it. The move spreads the signing bonus out over this year and next year, and Smith gets it now. So trading Geno Smith now, after you've given him the signing bonus, doesn't really make that much sense. The only way it makes sense is if you're trying to make it super affordable for his new team, and you're going to squeeze additional assets out of them for you taking on a significant portion of his salary in 2024, which you were going to do already, but now even more so, because now that roster bonus thing doesn't exist, you're just paying him his money now. So, Spotrac hasn't updated yet with the newest numbers, but my understanding is that if we traded Geno Smith at this point, we would only save a few $1,000,000 because that 9.6 million represented most of the savings, and now that's been converted. So this was a long-winded way of saying that there have been a lot of rumors and speculation in recent, I'd say, weeks that the Seahawks planned to trade Geno Smith to another team between now and the start of free agency, maybe a couple days into free agency. I don't see how it makes any sense now. Before, at least you saved about 40% of his cap hit. Now, it would be significantly less than that. And why would you make this move now? You don't have to do it. You could have just sat on it, waited, bided your time, and made a decision on this in mid-March, right before the roster bonus kicked in. You decided to do this now before even the Combine. And remember, the Combine is where a potential Geno Smith trade might have taken form if you were really putting him out there to be traded. So, to me, this kills any possibility of a Geno Smith trade unless you think you're going to get massive assets back because you're agreeing to pay most of his 2024 cap hit anyway. And I just don't see that being necessary. You would have already been taking on about 60% of it. So now you're saying, okay, we're going to take on, well, what would it be now, like 80% of it? Like, at a certain point, like, you have to ask yourself, why are we even doing this? Why are we agreeing to pay him to play on another team? Are we trying to get, like, 2 or 3 first-round picks? Like, nobody's going to pay that anyway. And, like, what are we talking about here? Are we really willing to pay somebody $10 million additional dollars to squeeze out, like, instead of a 4th-round pick, a 3rd-round pick? Or instead of a 2nd-round pick, a 1st-round pick? Like, why would you make the decision now? You can do this later if you wanted to keep your options open, but instead, no, you're doing this now. It's not like tomorrow is some kind of drop-dead date for being able to get your under the salary cap. By the way, there are a ton of other moves the Seahawks could do to create cap space. They can still release Jamal Adams. They can still release Quandre Diggs. They can release Will Dissly. They can release Nick Bellore. They can release Brian Monet. But they chose to do this instead right now. This is their first, I believe, money-creating move of the 2024 offseason. So, to me, before this move, the chances of trading Geno Smith were somewhere around 10%. Now, I think it's more like 2%. It just wouldn't make any sense. Like, I would be very confused if you decided, okay, we're going to give him a bunch of money in signing bonus, get his guaranteed cap hit for 2024 up, and now we're going to trade him because that's going to get us way more assets. Like, this isn't some primo piece of quarterback real estate that we have here that is now going to be worth, oh, we're going to get 18 first-round picks now because we're paying him so much of his salary. No, that's not going to happen. I love Geno. I think Geno's a really good quarterback, but I don't understand why any team would be willing to give up the farm for him. That doesn't make any sense. He's too old, and quite frankly, he's not on that Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen or Joe Burrow level anyway, even if he was the age of a guy like a Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow. All right, so looks to me like the Seahawks have basically committed to Geno for 2024, and there's still room to release him after the season if things don't go great or if they want to go in a different direction. But he does become a little bit harder to move. It becomes a little more pricier to let him go. And it also increases the incentive to potentially next offseason, if he does well, extend him to try to get some of that hurt out of here, push it down the line. But that's a discussion for another time. We need to see what Geno does in this new offense. And this also probably kills any possibility of an extension, which I would have loved to do, but oh well. I fully acknowledge the extension was unlikely, right? Like, the extension was kind of my dream offseason solution to get the cap hit as down as far as possible and protect ourselves against Geno having a monster year with Grubb. But it was always kind of a pipe dream anyway. So, yeah.